Hello. Did you know the most common reason why animal guardians bring their pet companions to the veterinarian? Well, it's not urinary tract issues or digestive issues or respiratory heart issues or neurologic issues. It's actually because of some complaint involving the skin, usually related called skin allergies. My name is Dr. Michael Dim, and I'm a holistic veterinarian here in West Palm Beach, Florida. I offer inpatient consultations to the clients in the South Florida area, and I also offer phone consultations nationwide. So, in this talk, I'm going to cover the classification of three types of skin allergies in our animals, how they're diagnosed, and options for treatment, both conventional and holistic options of treatment. So, the first most common type of skin allergy, in my opinion, in conventional practice, are what is known as flea bite allergies. And fleas can be a problem down here in Florida, 12 months a year, whereas in more temperate climates, usually only several months a year. And typical flea bite allergy is due to a susceptibility in the patient. In other words, not every animal that's exposed to fleas comes down with flea bite allergy. In fact, some animals don't even attract fleas. I'll often see in a single household, one animal be loaded with fleas, another animal have just a few fleas, and then a third animal will have a flea and will be itching crazily. So each of those animals are exposed to fleas, but only one of them would be susceptible to the itching and the allergies of fleas. So fleas can contact animals and animals are not affected by them. And I find that raising the vibration of animals, often through energy medicines and appropriate diet, often allows animals to be less susceptible to flea bite allergy. So, how do we diagnose flea bite allergy? Well, there's a typical distribution of lesions that occur down the back of animals, often involving near their tail or their hind legs or their groin area. Will often be hair loss patterns and often scabbing and secondary infections. And we often find fleas, evidence of fleas, obviously, or flea dirt on combing these animals. Now, how do we treat flea bite allergies? In traditional medicine, fleas are treated with strong, harsh chemicals that are often toxic on the nervous system or the liver and can cause significant side effects. In holistic veterinary medicine, there are several options for treating of fleas. There's actually food grade diatomaceous earth, which is wonderfully topically and given internally in the food. There's also various essential oil formulas that are actually quite effective for control of fleas. And a couple of examples of those would include a company that I like called Flea Hex, which is an essential oil combination, as well as another company called Wondercide. These are excellent topical flea control sprays and shampoos, and they include other treatments for the environment as well. And for the yard, there's an excellent product called Flea Destroyer, which I often find helpful in treating, again, the multi-component aspects of control of fleas. The second most common manifestation of allergies in our animals are what we call atopy. And atopy is what I call doggy hay fever. And it's very, very common in the traditional clinic. Symptoms of atopy in our animals, which again is doggy hay fever, are often scratching and biting at their feet or their face or their ears, often having secondary hot spots on the animals and secondary yeast and bacterial infections. And it can be very annoying for clients to have to deal with this. Atopy is diagnosed by knowing the seasonality of the problem. It often starts out seasonal and then becomes non-seasonal as the animal gets older. And also there are various testings now available, such as blood testing and allergy skin testing, but we don't usually use those in general practice. One of the aspects of atopy or doggy hay fever that I find that's interesting is that polyvalent vaccination plays a significant role in increasing dog susceptibility to allergies. And so we want to be mindful of, again, the vaccination process as we've gone over in previous talks. The other way as far as treatment is concerned, treatment of atopy includes, in traditional medicine, strong steroids and obviously antibiotics, antihistamines. They will use sometimes omega-3 fatty acids, and they're effective in some cases. And nowadays, there are stronger suppressive drugs like Cytopoint or Apoquel. And these drugs are very powerful and they suppress the immune system response to itching. But I find as a holistic practitioner that the problem tends to go deeper in the patient and affect deeper, the immune disease affects deeper areas of the body. So I don't find that that's a healthy approach long term. The next component of allergies in our patients is what are called food allergies or dietary hypersensitivities. And these are often animals that have been eating the same protein for months or years. Unlike what my colleagues tell clients, that animals should eat the same thing day in and day out, eating the same protein does lead to increased reactions in the gut and dietary sensitivities. Again, polyvalent vaccinations come along as well and disrupt the gut biome, causing a leaky gut. And that also leads to increased allergies and other systemic immune issues. Symptoms of food hypersensitivity include non-seasonal itching and scratching anywhere on the body, often involving the ears, which often are severely affected, with scabbing and infections and wax and discharge. Sometimes animals will even develop an ear hematoma, which is a broken blood vessel in the ear, which become very frustrating to treat. So food hypersensitivities are very common. I find the two most common food allergens are beef and chicken. Now, how we diagnose food allergies, again, is a non-seasonal itching and scratching, but also there are veterinarians that recommend hypoallergenic or restricted protein diets, or what are even known as hydrolyzed protein diets. In holistic veterinary medicine, there are some excellent tests. There's one from out in California called the NutriScan test, and then there's another one from Glacier Peaks Lab, and I like these testing better than the restricted protein diets. Now, how food allergies are treated in patients in conventional medicine, often it's recommended that these diets are avoided, and animals are often banished to eat these synthetic hydrolyzed protein diets for months or years. And those diets are just not a recipe for good health. In holistic veterinary medicine, we want to strengthen the terrain of the patient, improve the gut biome so that animals can tolerate a variety of proteins, not just one or synthetic diets like the hydrolyzed protein diets. And we can't forget our feline companions as well. They suffer from allergies, and they're often presenting with excessive grooming and hair pulling. They'll often develop secondary eruptions and plaques and ulcers, and they also are susceptible to flea bite allergy, kitty hay fever, and food hypersensitivities. So how do we approach these skin allergies in our patients, holistically speaking? Well, it all starts with a species-appropriate diet, as we've spoken about in last talks. Animals should be on a species-appropriate raw meat, rotating protein diet, and there are several options to do that we've gone over in previous talks. There's the BARF diet by Ian Billinghurst, which is excellent, and there are many resources online on how to do that. There are also companies that now have specially prepared fresh raw meat diets that are packaged and can be shipped throughout the country. One of my favorite companies down here in South Florida is known as My Paleopet, and they ship all over the country. There's also companies such as Primal, Honest Kitchen, and Stella and Chewy's that have packaged fresh meat diets. But raw meat diets are the foundation of decreasing the incidence of skin allergies and ear infections, and often these problems often go away, at least significantly. The second area that I find that's helpful for treating skin allergies and ear infections are the use of homeopathy. Homeopathy is based on the symptom totality of the patient. That means assessing all of the symptoms, the mental, emotional, and physical symptoms of the patient, not just currently and not just the skin disease, but over the life of the patient. And with homeopathy, we're often using dilute remedies to put the body back into balance. And it takes time and patience and commitment to work through those processes. And often old symptoms return as part of healing. And so clients have to realize that you have to have much patience in addressing these cases with homeopathy. And the goal of homeopathy is always cure, to make animals less susceptible to these conditions. And again, that does take time and patience and commitment. The final two areas that I find that can help with allergies, obviously, are acupuncture and Chinese medicine using herbal therapies. Those are individualized approaches as well. And by putting needles in certain points called meridians on the body, energy spots on the body, we're able to restore balance and improve the flow of energy and thus body function. So Chinese herbal formulas, again, should be individualized for each patient. Just like homeopathic remedies, there shouldn't be a one generic herbal formula or remedy to fit all cases. So when clients ask me, what's your homeopathic remedy for skin disease or ear infections, I have to tell people that it's an individualized assessment that comes up with that remedy. And the same is true with Chinese medicine as well. Again, it's an individualized system of medicine, and it helps also with improving balances of dampness and heat in the body. And it's certainly worthwhile exploring traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture and helping decrease allergic disease in our animals. And finally, there's a modality that many of my colleagues have taken up called NAET therapy, natural allergy elimination technique therapy. And that's a technique using muscle testing of various allergens in animals, and then certain acupuncture needles or certain endpoints on the animal to lessen the susceptibility and lessen the allergic reactions in our patients. And I've seen many treated NAET animals do remarkably well and often are healed or cured of their skin allergies. So skin disease can be certainly a frustrating and a relapsing condition in our animal companions. But there are many holistic modalities that I find that are very, very helpful, and I've outlined them here in this brief talk. I'm Dr. Michael Dim, and I'm a holistic veterinarian here in West Palm Beach, Florida, and I offer inpatient consultations to clients in the South Florida area, as well as phone consultations nationwide. Thank you very much.